Welcome to the Casual Experience.
Hello casuals, you're welcome to the Casual Experience show, and on this episode we'll be giving you the review of the UFC night that just wrapped up, featuring Maycee, the future Barber, and Erin Blanchfield. And I'm my guy, the great Gator.
Oh, thank you very much for having me back again.
How far now? How's your week been?
Very good, very good.
Yeah, and we had the time to use last night to relax for fights. It's just that it felt like an anticlimax. The main event just took over the whole show. I mean, what was supposed to be the main event just clouded the whole performances of other fighters. Maycee.
Yeah, with
come out.
With her not being able to come out and like going into the seizure.
Yeah.
It's a lot you expect from. We're discussing weight cuts and seeing fighters having to drop their weight that drastically, and in her case now, even like where we felt like, because we didn't know anything until after the Gamrot fight.
Yeah, but me, I watched their weigh-ins, and she was unusually drained. Like, I know normally fighters are always drained when they are doing their weight cut, obviously when they're on the scale the day before, but trust me, her cheeks were just too sunk in. I'm not saying I predicted that, but I just felt that. And she missed weight. She missed weight now.
She did.
For flyweight, she missed weight. So I don't know whether is it, I don't know, is it cutting too much weight or the fighting itself? I don't know. It's such a very tricky case for her. She's been having medical issues.
Well, in seeing one of the disappointing things about seeing fights like that just gets cancelled is the expectation of what needed to happen.
Yeah.
For instance, like we are discussing on the last pod, like this was the decider fight for the next top contenders.
Do you know Shevchenko was there? Valentino was in the audience. So, she was supposed to watch the fight, and obviously if any of them had won, they would have called their shots for a title fight. And it's just so unraveling. Like,
so now that division like this now it's still shaking up, because there's still no number one contender that would declare it.
And Blanchfield was so distraught. She went at Maycee. She said she has no form of seriousness in her life, and it was for me, from just looking at it from Maycee's perspective, she's not giving out any talks or anything outside, but like, can you just imagine what she can be?
We wouldn't know until we hear from the horse's mouth. That's another thing.
Yeah, but seizures. They declared her medically unfit.
Better it happened than she went and fought on like
true.
That, right?
That's true. Better it happened, because their hands were already wrapped. DC and
we're already calling the fight.
Yeah, they were already about calling the fight. They went on their break and they came back and they were like, everybody was confused. In fact, they were the one that the announcer had to announce right there to the audience, and you could hear the ooh. But for me, I'd always felt, when I saw the card, I'd always felt that Gamrot.
What wasn't the good? They should have had a backup now. A good backup.
No, you know, it's a fight night. They won't even think that
kind of thing will happen. Yeah.
And who would have wanted to be the backup? It was like a done fight.
Done fight, yeah.
And I felt the main event should have been Gamrot's climb, because that's the top fight there. Didn't you think?
Yes, but UFC are promoting the fighters that they want to promote.
Yeah, and Valentina even been there. Valentina Shevchenko was there, and that's for a purpose. But for overall, we had some great fights.
Exciting card.
For me, that's where we beg to differ. Before I started the pod, you said exciting card. I was like, well, there are some fights that showed out, but for me, the card was bland. If I was to rate it, I would give it a 5.
5?
Over 10.
Hey, no, now you can't say, like, I won't say 5, because like there are fighters that, okay, for instance, I was discussing it with there was a lot of high level grappling that happened.
Yeah.
And from what we are discussing in the preview, I was talking about how strikers we're not giving our grapplers a
Yes.
I mean, a lot of grapplers showed out yesterday. Now, unfortunately, Gamrot wasn't able to finish his own opponent, but then
What did you think of the performance?
he put. I feel like other than finishing him, it was because the first round was him grappling. The second round, he grappled and then client stood up and then they started throwing hands. When they came out to the third round, they started throwing hands before he started grappling again. So from my perspective, I feel like it was the fight he wanted to finish. He didn't have enough. I didn't feel like he had enough in him.
But he didn't make a statement. Would you say he made a statement with that fight?
No, he didn't make a statement. But
Yeah.
but
DC told him to call out his opponents. He just said anyone, anybody. I mean, when I feel the fighters, when they give them that couple seconds to take their shots.
But before even I don't think this day that I'll make up my mind though. Before I even come up to that place, I made up where I want to fight.
Yes.
But with Gamrot, I feel like even if he didn't put on a superb performance, I feel like he did enough to get the job done. Like it was unarguably his night. The decision was clearly his for the most of it.
And for the fight of Jacoby, Dustin Jacoby, I was watching a podcast this morning, and they said he said he's such an exciting fighter that you just want him to win. He reminds you of a Meshat, but him is like him. He throws, and Meshat also obviously grapples, and you just, because of his style of fighting, you just want him to win.
If you like, didn't he start that fight being rocked?
Jacoby.
Yes.
No, he put the guy on back foot also. It was Bruno that was rocked.
Yes.
Then he was going backwards. Yes.
Yeah.
And then they started grappling, and DC was saying they should break. He should break. He should try and break.
Yes.
And when they could have a single break like this, he just went at him again.
From that jab and that
it was a jab that
I felt like, first of all, that it wasn't a heavy enough jab, but for that kind of just
he sat on it.
It's not the ones that you put the most power behind that are the most effective. But he tapped him, and I felt like, bro, if my first jab in a fight does that to you, bro, I'm winning that fight.
That guy he's had 4 finishes now.
I'm winning that fight, bro.
And then we had some interesting. Remember Jordan Levitt he fought in the prelims and he submitted court. The guy that Paddy twerked on when him and Paddy fought.
Like I said, high level grappling on display.
This was that asking him for that. Do you have a new celebration, or is still the same celebration? Do you know his new celebration? The worm.
The worm, yes.
he did the worm. Another fight that caught my fancy was that Billy Regoff and Ramis Brahim match. They finished him from a standing
when last you see a standing gilly?
That was technical, man.
People have been trying to throw that particular standing gilly for a while now.
That was so technical.
But still the same thing, high level grappling on display. When the grappler feels like he would stand up and take you to the ground, he was standing up to take him back to the ground, and that's how he ended up in that position. So
but above all, the supposed main event that was supposed to take place is such a bummer that it couldn't happen. And
I feel like the other than that, it was okay. You're scoring the card. I won't say 5. I would say like it's 7, because a lot of more finishes than I expected from that particular card, because it wasn't looking exciting from the start.
I don't even think most fight fans honestly, I feel that most fight fans didn't watch the fights. Maybe looked at it, watched the highlights. For someone like us that we know that we have to come talk about it, we have to come and gist about it, we watch the full fight, right?
Those guys are going to have to anyway. But then nothing other than the 2 or 3 finishes that I saw. Nothing out of the ordinary.
And this is personal for me. I just sympathize with Maycee. My empathy go towards her. I can't just imagine what she's going through, because it's not like, regardless of what everyone says, she actually wanted to fight. For you to have your opponents, like your hands being wrapped, like if you wanted to bail out of a fight, you would have done that even when she missed weight. Like then having seizures, and I know her father is by her side. You know, her father is always with her. Her father trains her, and I know that she's going through torture, online and physical torture.
I feel like she'll be back soon.
Yeah, I just hope. But I don't know.
Coming back to that weight is another thing.
That's another thing. Coming back to flyweight, like she's a big flyweight, so bantamweight should be okay for her, should be sufficient for her. And I feel there are many in that bantamweight. I'm not saying they're not bad, they're not skilled female fighters, but I think she might be able to hold her own in that bantamweight. If it's just a matter of choices for her right now.
Yeah.
Like she has to sit down
and decide.
And she and her team.
I feel like she should go back to bantamweight.
Because this is not the first time she's missing weight, and you can't professionalism or no professionalism, you can't keep doing that, And our time is upon us. UFC 316. I just want us let's just about it as our usual.
Merab is sitting somewhere drinking his tea
with his broken toe. I was watching the UFC. You know, now that we talk about fights and everyone watches us, so we have to be meticulous in our studies. And I was watching the UFC countdown. You know, after normal the week before the fight, the countdown comes out. So the UFC countdown is out. So I was watching it, and maybe it's just me, but at every point that the camera showed, the UFC camera showed Merab, and they were interviewing him or anything, they didn't show his leg. He was just below the knee, above his knee. All the shots was above his knee. Even Sean, when they were interviewing him, we could see footage of training his leg. And I was like, it was a 48 minutes video. All through, I was looking out for, aside from the old videos, I was looking out for the recent, whenever they showed his recent self, to see his toe, his broken toe. And it wasn't shown once. Don't you think that could be a factor? It's an obvious thing now. Everybody knows that he has a broken toe.
Do you think it will stop him from fighting?
No, obviously, it's not going to stop Merab from fighting. But like, you are still. Fighters always say they don't go in 100. No, none of them go in 100%. But that's an obvious injury.
Would it hamper his wrestling?
It won't. But look at it on the flip side. Sean's be more focused. Imagine he's smoking sugar when he was winning and knocking out people out. His lifestyle, he was smoking, he was tweeting, he was always online, and now he said he just went dead blank. Like, obviously there are people handling his social medias now, but he stopped smoking, he's been more disciplined, and you could see the determination in him. But the way we are talking about it, you know, most fans, including me, I'm sure as the week comes along, as the week goes along now, we'll be seeing new developments, new stories to twerk, and I feel we are underestimating
Sugar.
Yes, Sugar. We are underestimating Sean O'Malley.
Okay. Good for you, bro. When you finish now, we'll see you in the cage on Saturday night. It's finished. That's what Merab is waiting for.
Wow.
Toe or no toe.
You can just only imagine the wreck.
Wait, yeah. There's Sugar that fought Chito, right? The Sugar that fought Chito, that couldn't finish Chito, that everybody was applauding.
Yeah.
That's not the Sugar I want to see now.
But wait now.
And that's when he was claiming he was being good.
But even the same Merab in Noche when they fought, even though Merab dominated him, in the 5th round, you could say Sugar almost finished him. When he poked him with that leg, that stomach kick.
Even now, I don't want to predict Merab's game, but I know that whatever Merab is planning is not going to happen on the feet.
Yeah.
Now.
But he said he wants to strike now. He wants to show Canelo hands.
But then that's what happened to remember the name Belal.
Yeah.
And you see how they fight, and the fight that he could have easily won if he started grappling earlier on.
Merab is wiser than that, don't you think?
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think, because he's one of those. He seems like one of those fighters that feel like they have something to prove.
That he said is when this light heavyweight that just retired, Anthony Smith, was interviewing him. He said he might just he wants to show a new side of him. He wants to show striking, and I don't know why wrestlers and grapplers always say that kind of thing. Like it was what Belal kept singing all through his fight before with JDM, before his fight with JDM, saying he wants to show his hands. Now Merab is singing the same tune, and Sugar is saying he will be dumb. He will be dumb if he will be a dumb person if he does that.
And that's the only way I see Sugar winning that fight. If it's a pure striking match, there's nothing that Merab is going to do.
It's going to be an intriguing
It's going to be a long hands and long legs.
Yeah.
All Sugar has to do is keep him at a distance and keep poking with the jab until he's tired. Kick his legs, stab his toe.
Yeah, and Sean and his team, they are smart enough to figure out a game plan against that marauding wrestling.
They've gotten overconfident, so.
Yeah. We've seen how it is. I just hope it doesn't play out the way the first fights happened.
Making him look flat like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Sugar will let that kind of thing happen again.
Yeah, and for the co-main also, it's a card of bantamweight. The main event is bantamweight. The co-main also is the female bantamweight.
To change and done that.
Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison.
Yes, now.
Why do you say that? Anyway, we have the preview show to talk about all that, but to check what you just saying the bell to change hand. You think Julia in that bantamweight, who has more dog in them than Juliana?
That fight is not going to be about dog or no dog.
Yeah,
it's going to be about time and patience. Who has more? Because it's like those two fighters are going to be playing a chess match in front of each other at the same time, understanding that it's not even about who loses the belt now. It's who their next match is. Have you seen their stack? Whoever, even if Pena wins like this now, she has like two other people under her that's on that same that are waiting to do the same thing to her. So I feel like even if Pena is still going to be champion, she doesn't have up to 3 fights left as champion.
I just feel Kayla is just she just
Newton up dog.
No, she's just an outliner. The why I say that is, aside from her physical features, which you can see, she has strength in abundance, and there is a self-belief. She's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist in judo, and there's a mentality that comes with that. But at the same time, Juliana has more experience than her, MMA experience. But when they were doing their pre-conference, Juliana, Killer was letting her know that you've been fighting since 2009 years, but I've been fighting since 2019, and I'm 17 and 2 or 17 and 0. And do you think it's even going to be more of an intriguing fight than the main event? Looking at the two people that are going to be fighting, and there's a bad blood.
Knowing that Sugar has something to prove, I want to see what Sugar is going to do. Yeah,
Killer trains with AT&T, them Dustin Poy's camp, and I'm sure they have their game plans too. And Juliana, it's not the first time. If she comes out with the way we know she comes out, it's not the first time she's shocking the world. She shocked the world with Lioness, and then she beats Raquel Pennington.
I hope that, like I said, if she wins, I just hope that she doesn't. Because at some point she's going to have to move on.
Yeah,
and somebody's going to be the person to move her on.
And guys, for our UFC 316 preview, we're going to be talking about our preview in a couple of days, and it'll just be an intriguing time on the card. We have a lot of top fighters. We just briefly talked about the main and co-main event. Kevin Gastelum is going to be fighting Joey Pfeiffer. The cancelled fights that they had they were supposed to fight in Mexico, and Pfeiffer couldn't fight there, and he said he wasn't going back to UFC to Mexico. Guess who is fighting again?
Who?
Our fighter that fights the most, Vicente Luque and Kevin Holland. Holland is fighting on the card.
He's always on everybody's
Yeah, and when he's fighting, you know it's always going to be an exciting fight. So we'll be giving the preview of the fights. And guys, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you for liking, thank you for watching, and whenever you watch and you share, kindly subscribe. We see your comments, we see your engagement, and we are so grateful. And guys,
Welcome
for this show, it's a wrap, yo.
Experience.